Hello, everybody. I'm Junia Doan, and my next guest grew up in abject poverty, abuse, alcoholism, but he was determined to live a life in pursuit of happiness. Join me as I next interview Chris Gardner. Hello, everybody. I'm Junia Doan, and this is Uncommon Sense with Junia. Thank you so much for tuning in today to be with us. Our guest today is Chris Gardner. He started out in conditions you cannot imagine, but I will refer to later, and through a long, can I say a long life? A continuing life, he has made choices, good and bad, to go forward. He is the author of a wonderful book called The Pursuit of Happyness, which I've read, upon which the movie was made with Will Smith, and more recently another wonderful book entitled Start Where You Are, which I encourage you to read, which I have read, because of the wisdom that's both practical and spiritual and, what do I want to say, cheerleading. And well, everybody needs a cheerleader.
That's
you know,
okay.
it could be only a book for some of us. You know what I'm saying? The one beautiful thing in his life, really two, were women. One was his mother, who had the gift of stillness and the gift of presence, and the other was his older sister, Ophelia. His story is famous, and I'm sure there are opportunities, but I wonder, is there less freedom?
Both.
Both. How so?
Both. Opportunities, yes, but you have to be very, very focused about opportunities. I mean, there are too many opportunities. You have to be very, very focused. At least this is something that I've learned. And one of the things I've learned at this point in my life is that the things that you say no to are just as important, if not more, than the things that you say yes to.
What is the grid that you ask yourself, or the questions you ask that determine the no or the yes to the
Passion.
Passion.
How do I feel about it? Is it something I really want to do? Is it something that's important? And it's a passion, it's a feeling thing. That's totally it. And time.
How much time it will take?
Yeah, sure. Well, you get to a point, honestly, where it's just real clear that there's only going to be 24 hours in the day, no matter what you try to do. A few years ago, they took my calendar away from me because I kept saying that I could be in two places at one time, and I could never pull it off.
You need a twin. But I see.
That might be an idea. That's an idea.
Well, I do think it's interesting to develop the ability to edit what you do because of just the reasons you said. I also find, or I have found in my life and have observed it in others, that when you get traction, when you get going in whatever your field is, it gets bigger and bigger, and the times suck. It's greater and greater, and so your life is, I won't say distorted, but it's focused as you were.
Highly focused.
On,
I mean, there's no such thing as just extra time.
yeah.
You can always, you can make money, you can lose money, you can never make time. Once it's gone, that's it. And you get to a point in your life where you realize and you're real clear that time is the ultimate luxury.
It is, and that's what money buys. Choice, amongst other things, are your car. The thing of it is that I have observed, and actually you comment on it, that sometimes our personal relationships go to the margins.
Oh, absolutely. That's part of the sacrifice. The biggest price of success is the sacrificing of relationships. That is absolutely the biggest part of success. That sacrifice, you have to at some point say, you know what? There are just certain things I just can't have. I'm not married. That's one of the reasons I'm able to do the things that are really important to me. That's one of the reasons I'm able to, if I got to, I can get on a plane. I'm gone. I'm going to South Africa. I'm gone for 6 weeks. I don't know when I'll come back. You can't do that when you're married or you have small children.
Right.
You can't do that. My children are grown. I am married now in a sense.
How so?
I'm married to my 24-year-old daughter and my 18-month-old granddaughter. And if an unknown woman comes any place close to me, it gets real ugly. They will not permit it to happen. Okay? So yeah, I'm married to those two young ladies.
I would wonder if, though, in your private moments you don't have yearnings for an adult woman of
Oh, I do,
your
and I
age.
give in to them.
You do. But that means they can only go so far.
No, that doesn't mean that. That means that people have to really understand and get you and
Yeah.
be supportive of what it is that you're about, what it is that's important to you, and also to understand that maybe what you're doing can be making a difference in someone's life. And those people are very few and far in between. That's why when you do have those relationships, you treasure them.
That's truly love, to let a
Yeah,
person live the
yeah.
life they wish.
Sure, absolutely, and it's hard. Everybody
is
can't
hard.
do that. It's easy to talk about, but everybody can't do it.
It is hard, yes. On both sides it's hard.
Absolutely.
Yes, for depth and breadth and time. I noticed that, or one of the things that I was asking myself as I was getting acquainted with you on paper was the number of different places you've worked. And while you talk about the 5 C's, which are, let me see, clarity, compelling, consistent, commitment, and don't tell me. Clarity, I'm missing one. Clear, but I'm missing
Clear, concise,
concise. That's what I missed. I wasn't concise.
You got to be concise. Keep it tight.
But did the different places you work have different personalities, and therefore applying the 3 A's or the 5 C's bring out different aspects that you had to learn of yourself?
Yes, but all of those aspects, maybe not so much as learn, but develop.
Yeah.
All of those aspects are transferable. And that's one of the things I spend a lot of time talking with people about right now is that, and especially some of us that have been affected by the economic crisis that we are all in, some of us have lost jobs. Okay, fine. You lost your job, but you have not lost your skills, your talent, or your expertise. Skills, talent, and expertise are transferable. You mentioned my having different career possibilities early as a young man. For instance, my work with Dr. Ellis in a research laboratory. Everything that I learned in that environment was immediately transferable to Wall Street. Analysis, data, accumulation of information. All of that is immediately transferable directly to Wall Street. And that's one of the things, again, I'm trying to get a lot of people to focus on is that everything that you learn, take it with you when you walk out the door.
You know, I noticed that from your book, and the other thing I really, really liked is all experiences, good or bad, are teachers or motivators one way or another. But for the young person who's just finishing college now, who maybe can't find a job or the job they want and working at the fast foods, how do they create that sphere of influence, the vision? I mean, what skills are they drawing on? How can they talk to themselves since they may not know?
You know, maybe if they don't know, they better find out.
Yeah.
And maybe one of the things that a lot of young people have an opportunity to do right now is to ask themselves, okay, I went to school, I majored in this,
Right.
but what do I really want to do? What really just turns me on? What just gets me so excited the sun can't come up soon enough in the morning because I want to go do my thing? And the next question is, am I bold enough to position myself to pursue it? Am I willing to do the work now? Okay, you got your degree. That's great. Your degree might not be related at all to what it is you really want to do. I've talked to I don't know how many young people over the course of my career who went to medical school or law school because their fathers and mothers were doctors and lawyers.
Yeah.
And then they find out, man, that's really not what I want to do. So maybe this is that time to say, what is it I really want to do? And I'm willing to do the work to position myself in order to pursue it.
What does boldness entail?
The biggest part of it, everybody's not going to see you doing it. Boldness means I don't need anybody else to see it but me. My mom used to talk to me about this thing that she would call seeing ghost.
Yeah.
And she would say, son, you're seeing ghosts again, aren't you? And what she meant by that was I was seeing myself doing things that nobody else could imagine me doing. Her position was, as long as you're seeing it with the eyes in your soul, nobody else has to see it.
And I understand, but what you're so good at, or at least the book taught me you're so good at, and I presume you're even better now, is the ability to really go up to people you don't know and ask questions. I was in awe. I admired that so much.
Well, I don't see why that's so, unbelievable. I mean, you walked up to me and started asking me questions.
Yeah, but I like that, you know.
You seem to be doing it rather well. We should trade seats here so I can just ask you a bunch of questions.
Later. I don't mind. I'm an open book, more or less. Maybe less than more, but anyway,
Well,
working on more.
Part of that, honestly, is just the desire to know. And I got very, very blessed early on in my career, in my life, to meet a lot of people who were just extremely bright. And I found out that if you would ask them questions, if they felt your sincerity, they would share with you. Whoa, imagine that. If you were honestly open and very interested and they could feel it, they would share with you, and that hasn't changed.
No, I'm really good. You really taught me something, because often myself personally, I feel I don't want to intrude on a person's time or space or life even, since I may not know.
Intrude so smoothly, though.
Well, bonding, but
You intrude so smoothly. It just seems so effortless. And that's a skill.
I love compliments from a man, so good for you. The other thing that I really liked is the concept of sphere of influence. And I would invite you to explain that so that people in almost any area can start thinking or looking for that in their own life, what they're passionate for or about.
There are people that are directly related to, connected to, and or doing things that you would like to be doing. One of the most important things that I think anybody can do is to begin to develop those relationships, get to know those people. And in my business on Wall Street, it comes down to a lot of time, look, everybody's good.
Yeah.
Everybody's competitive. There's this much difference between you and the other guy. It comes down to who cares if you get the business. Have you created relationships? My Uncle Joe used to talk about this thing, make friends before you need friends.
And be reliable.
Make friends before you need friends. And some people today call that networking. I don't know what that means.
It's not the same.
No, it's not the same at all. It means developing real relationships. And one of the most important things in that effort is getting people to see that you are about something besides money. Be about something bigger than money.
The other thing I liked, to quote you back to your book, is that when you were talking about calling people and the advice you got about it really doesn't matter how big the person is. You can call anybody without fear as long as you have something to offer them. So for someone who's just out of college and wanting to get in this field of passion, what is it they can think about offering someone that they might be calling who's more established in their field?
All right. Don't assume that that person knows any more than you do about things that are of interest to them. Don't assume that. Make the effort. If, for instance, I wanted to get to know Ann from the United Way,
Yes.
I would make every effort to get a sense of what she involved in the community, what she care about, where she spend her time. I would get to know that she collects teacups from around the world. And every time I saw anything on a teacup in any periodical, on any form of media, I would find every effort that I could get it to her. And sooner or later, she's going to see this thing and say, who the hell is this Chris Gardner? And how does he know this? And one day she's going to say, I didn't see that. Nobody else showed me that. And she's going to pick up the phone and say, hey, this is Ann. That's how it happens. My most important relationships that I developed in my entire career were with my two mentors,
Yeah.
Mrs. Barbara Scott Presco and Mr. W.J. Kennedy III from
Yeah.
North Carolina. And that's how I got to know them. I called Mrs. Presco for years before she agreed to have a cup of coffee with me. Years. But after that one meeting, she became like a second mom to me, and I like to believe I became another son to her. And I was asked recently, why didn't I talk a lot more about her in the book, The Pursuit of Happyness? And unfortunately, she had passed away about the time I was doing the book, and it was just so painful for me, I couldn't really talk about it. But yeah, Mrs. Presco and Mr. Kennedy.
You know, there are always lessons in life. That's really what you're saying. We're here to be loved, to love, and to learn. And I love that thing about going back to the soul, peeling off all the layers to learn in life that which you enter life with as a soul, Jewish tradition anyway. In any case, what do you think you might have to learn now?
Oh man, ooh, so much, all kinds of things. But give you one for instance.
Maybe two.
I just bought my dream house.
Oh, I'm going to hear about it.
No, I just bought my dream house, and the first room being done is the library. And another mentor, Dr. Maya Angelou, I asked her, if you could only read 100 books in your entire life, what would they be? She wrote me a list of the 100 books. That's the only thing in the library. So I'm going to be reading for a long time. So when you say, what have you to learn? Wow, man. Tell you something else I've had to learn that I'm looking forward to. How to be a grandfather. Man, that is the coolest job in the world.
Do you find you're differently in the world now that you're a grandfather?
Oh, man. Only with my granddaughter. Only with her. Absolutely. She came to stay with me a couple of weeks ago. And the most important thing that I did every day was blow bubbles and push the tricycle.
No, that's true. Enter their world.
Oh, man. I got to tell you, when she left, I was depressed.
Bonded.
I was depressed, man. So I'm going to be
A lot of love
focused
you
on
have
those.
in you. You know, Chris, you have a wonderful way of making people feel comfortable with you. I noticed that at the reception earlier today. Would you have some advice on how to do that? Because some people seem to do that easily, and some...
Be yourself.
People don't know what that means.
I know. Well, you better find out what it does mean. You better find out who you are and just be yourself. The truth is a hit.
I love that.
All right? Just be who you are. People can see through all this other stuff real quick. Be who you are.
I wish you would just give, maybe besides the truth is a hit, I just wish you would say one word or two about how does one find that out, or what does that mean to someone who says, what is he talking about, or I don't know how to do that, or is it me when I'm happy, or is it me when I'm sad, or is it me when I'm hitting the best, baseball, or I'm falling down?
It just comes down to being comfortable with yourself
Right.
in all of those various aspects of your life. But I can't say it any cleaner or clearer, and it frustrates me that I can't. Be who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Be comfortable with yourself. Maybe that's the most important aspect of it. Be comfortable with who you are. And one of the things that I have learned, and it might sound not cool, but one of the things that I have learned is that the more you love yourself, the less you need other people to like you.
I have a girlfriend whose mother said, if you love yourself, everyone will love you. But if you cannot love yourself, it's doubtful if other people...
You know what? It's interesting. You know what my mother told me about other folks? What other people think of you is none of your business.
That's right. Tell me one thing before we quit. What is be still? When you're talking about your mother's being still and her very sense of light, could you say something about that? I understand being still is I'm going to get hit, so I have to be non-visible. But I can see still as having the sort of the uniform presence in you.
It's powerful.
It is powerful.
It's powerful. Being still, being able to affect change without movement. One of you mentioned the light.
Yes.
One of the concepts that we put forth in the new book is this whole idea of what I call spiritual genetics.
Yes.
I mean, we all understand genetics. You're going to get your mom's eyes, your dad's nose, nothing you can do about it. But the spirit of who you're going to become as a man or a woman, I believe you can choose. And you read my first book, so
Both.
you know I
Both
could have
books.
become my stepfather.
Yes,
I could have
easily.
become another alcoholic, wife-beating, child-abusing, illiterate loser. And a lot of people would have said, well, look where he's from. He didn't have a choice. And I say, hey, that's BS. I did have a choice. And I chose the light that I saw in my mom. And it is indeed biblical. Scripture tells us that we are all born with a spirit that allows us to embrace God, whatever you perceive God to be. But that the same spirit can be beaten down into darkness. Mm-hmm. So it's not just a matter of choosing, but it's choosing and embracing.
You received a gift in your book of a painting of a father and child, or anyway, a man and a child. And the subtitle, the title of it is something like, "With the child you were, what would the child you were think of the man you've become?" And I can only think that child would be in awe. So I want to thank Chris Gardner for being with us. We've learned a great deal from him today. We've learned the importance of focus. We learned the importance of consistency. We've learned the importance of knowing what your passion is and editing your life with the no's, as he said, are just as important as the yes. Know that you, in order to be available, to be passionate, some of your personal relationships may have less time in them, and the person you're with needs to understand that that you really what you're doing is primary in your life. Learn that the importance of spiritual choice is yours to make and freely available. Learn that that we're all people, and the way you get to anyone through relationships, whether you're talking really about romance, although we didn't say that, but getting to know, what is it to know about the person, get to know what they like, make their life easier, give them things that would enhance their life or information about their life, and be truthful. and reliable. And I also liked what he said about knowing yourself and being yourself. And so I hope that you will have a wonderful week. Thank Chris. And remember, kindness counts. Go out today and do something kind for someone you know and someone you don't know, and repeat it all week. Blessings to you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Girl, you should start a church.
To contact Junia, send her an email at info@juniadoan.com. For more information, program schedules, and news about future guests, go to www.juniadoan.com. Thanks for joining us. See you next time for Uncommon Sense with Junia Doan.